Welcome to the Tranquil Gi. And we have got Melissa and Cory. And
From which gym?
From Forge. I was gonna say grind. I get Forge and grind all mixed up. And then got my co-host Leo.
G'day.
He's been rushing around
Mm-hmm.
town.
Busy day. I'm here. Let's do this.
So it's cool to have you guys on.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's like a power couple, eh? This is a real power couple. Like you don't want to mess with this couple if it came to a. Yeah, you got to share the mic. That's the one rule that you've got today.
Let's go. Well, okay.
He's going to be shy to start with
that's
the
fine.
mic.
I'll ask questions for like each of you, and then you guys can pass the mic. Or that's how we'll try and do it because we poor at this podcast. We can't afford another.
Can't afford another mic yet.
Yeah. But yeah, it's been. So I think I might have met you guys. Like this is years ago. I'm trying to think. So this was at Ground Control, and I think I might have been a blue belt or a purple belt. I don't know. But
I think you were a blue belt when we met.
Blue belt. Okay. You were. I was a 4-stripe white belt. Okay. So yeah. So that was. So that would have been 2014 or around about then. So is that kind of like when you guys started? So.
Yeah. Corbin was 7.
Yeah.
So, man.
So did you start when cause Corbin wanted to start doing jiu-jitsu?
After I'd broken my back, I needed to get back into something.
Yeah.
So I had done MMA and other martial arts before.
Okay, there's a story there. How'd you break your back, please, sir?
Not jiu-jitsu. Surfing.
Surfing.
Yeah, landed on my head.
Oh.
Yeah. Shallow, hit the bottom, broke my back.
In New Zealand or overseas?
Here.
Which
down the
beach?
Coromandel, Hot Water Beach.
Okay.
Yeah. 2 days before New Year's.
Oh.
It was an awesome Christmas.
Yeah.
You know, spent it lying on my back looking at the ceiling.
Right.
Oh
But
my
yeah,
gosh.
but I needed something to do. I don't like the drugs and the painkillers, so I needed something to do to strengthen my back. So started to get back into MMA and then jiu-jitsu.
So from the time you broke your back, getting into jiu-jitsu, what's that time period?
2 or 3 years.
Yeah. And did it take you a while for you to get back into being able to
Move and
And when we're saying broken back, we're talking about certain vertebrae
between my shoulder blades
snapped.
smashed a vertebrae into 3 pieces.
But tell them how this thing went down. So just.
Oh, he did. He said he landed on his head.
Yeah, you landed on his head.
25-foot waves.
Yeah, there we go. At Hot Water Beach.
But explain I did it.
Yeah.
And then what happened? Like what happened straight afterwards? Because this will be going to Melissa.
Melissa, well, I was in the Coromandel, needed to get back to Auckland, so they had to fly me back to Auckland.
But when you hit your head on the ground, okay, and then you came up, like what happened after that?
If you can remember.
I knew it had broken. I'd heard it break. Could feel it would break. Couldn't really breathe. Could still move my feet. Everything could move. I was really, really fit at the time, so I was had quite strong back anyway. And I landed on my head, fractured my skull right up and over the top as well because it was just a straight impact, and crushed my spine. And then I could fit my hand into the gap in my head.
Oh.
Yeah. And then I didn't go out. I didn't get knocked out. And then it washed me in. Pulled my board over. The waves washed me in. And I lay there I must have been lying there for 20 minutes.
So there's no one on the beach?
6 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
Yeah, 6 o'clock.
Was this your first wave or?
I'd been paddling up and down the beach and mucking around. That's how I used to keep fit. And then I went, I've got to get up. I've got to get up and I've got to get back to the house because we got our house back up there. And an old army guy was walking down the beach, and I called him over and I went, "Oh mate, I think I've broken my back and that." And I said, "But I'm going home." So he helped stabilise my neck and everything and helped me up and walked me home.
Wow.
That is so if you think about it.
He was an army medic.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so you knew how. But the thing is, as an army medic, I would have thought, dude, because
stay
what
down.
I know.
He didn't want me to move.
If there's anything that you needed not do is not move. So if anyone's got like a.
Yeah, I was going to go home. I was just said I want to get home to my wife.
Mind over
Wife
body.
and kids. I'm going back.
Yeah.
I done more damage walking back.
Okay.
Yeah.
It done more damage walking back.
Yeah.
But I'm stubborn.
Okay, so you basically you walk into the house. So what happened?
She called me a dick. I can remember that.
So Melissa, you passed the mic to Melissa. So Melissa, what was your
Wait? So I just want to
what were you doing? And
So I was in bed with the kids, just having a lovely morning, and I heard Melissa, Melissa. Basically he came in. They laid him on the ground.
what, the army guy?
Yeah. And Cory's brother Jason came up and just secured his neck. And then they were like, right, we're going to have to cut the sweatsuit off. No. I'm like, dude, wetsuit walking.
Can I tell you guys a story? So because I did my shoulder surfing, very similar situation to yours, except I think I was lucky because I hit my shoulder. And when I walked to the lifeguard station or whatever where they were, the guy said, okay, we have to, he didn't ask me. I saw him get the scissors and I was like, what are you doing? And he was like, I need to cut your wetsuit. I was like, you're not cutting my wetsuit. I said, I'll take it off. He says,
Wetsuit over health.
So I unzipped this thing. Luckily, I had still the adrenaline still pumping through me, so I was just able to, get the whole thing off. But I was like, you're not cutting my suit.
No one touches the wetsuit. So no one cut your wetsuit. Did they cut Cory's wetsuit?
No, they did not cut Cory's wetsuit.
Yeah, exactly.
It was Christmas. It was new wetsuit. So it was completely new. There was no way they were cutting it off.
Yeah.
And my brother was like, "No, I'll get it off him. I'll get it off him. Yep, I understand."
Yeah.
So it was all go.
Sounds like your brother wanted your wetsuit for himself. He's like, he won't be able to use it for a while.
So then you're at the house, and then what happened then? The chopper comes?
Ambulance came in.
Yeah.
Ambulance came in, and then they went, "Nah, we can't drive him all the way back to Auckland or to what is it, the Thames Hospital."
Thames, yeah.
Yeah, so they got the Westpac in.
Oh.
Awesome guys. Westpac is an amazing organisation.
Yeah.
They were cool.
So
All
they
good.
flew you to Auckland.
Yeah. Her biggest fear.
My biggest fear. Yeah. I can't deal with heights. I am terrible on planes, so I have to have medication for planes.
Really?
And they were, meanwhile, 2 little children, and they're telling me I'm going to have to sit in a helicopter.
Oh, so you actually went with?
Yeah, because I was like, I can't.
The kids would have been
Leave
like, oh,
him.
this is pretty
This is
cool.
great.
They're
This is
like,
free.
Nana and Pa are looking after us. So when I hopped in the helicopter, they were like, do you want sedatives?
Yes.
Really?
Like, we're actually not
Yes.
worried about your husband, but you look pretty bad. You're in pretty bad shape. So, yeah.
So what are your thoughts running through your head, like when this whole thing's happening?
Is he going to walk, really?
Oh,
Yeah.
Is he
yeah.
going to walk again?
Yeah.
That was a big one for us, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would have changed everything in your life, done it? So
Oh.
Yeah.
devastating if something like that happens. So
Yeah.
So he walked in and he said, Melissa, I broke my back. And you said, Dick.
yeah.
That's such a Kiwi answer. It's just very, very good. Okay. All right. So we've had this injury.
Yeah.
Now we've
now
we've done the backstory.
Yeah, we've done the
now you can
backstory.
proceed
And
about
then it was I can't take these drugs.
right.
You know, they screw you up. The
Yeah.
things they try to put you on to fix nerve damage and stuff like that are terrible. So I went, okay, the other route, and I went, I've got to strengthen my back. I've got to stay fit. I don't like the gym. I just don't like going to the gym. So, hey, man, MMA, Jiu-Jitsu, that's
Yeah.
what it was. That's the thing that appealed to me all my life. So that's all I did, and that's all I've done.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So where did you start? Did you start at ground control? Or
Yeah,
did you
ground
you
control,
did?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
MMA,
So basically when
MMA with Neil.
Oh yeah,
as well.
yeah.
And Shane, and then felt too old because they were young bucks,
Yeah.
and thought, I'll go into jiu-jitsu and just do the jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Neil
that's what we do.
flippin' bloody pulverized me this week.
Who did?
Neil.
Did he?
Yeah, it's just like got me. I was playing guard with him, and just got me in side control and just was absolutely smashing me.
Yeah.
Like, he's so good.
Neil and Andrew Craven.
Yeah.
You know, they were my first coaches. Best memories are having Andrew Craven knee riding and punching the out of me.
Yeah.
You know, just laughing his head off.
Yeah.
You know, awesome memory, and just hooked you and kept you
Yeah.
going.
So basically, when I met you, that was just after your. So how long did it take you to recover? Like from.
2 years to recover.
Yeah.
I was so lucky. They wouldn't. There was no operations, nothing. No specialist would operate on my back. It was too risky. So they put me in a brace, and I stayed in a brace for 8 months.
What was the brace like? One of these
full body brace.
Really?
Yeah, right up to full body brace, right up to here.
Jeez.
Yeah, just stuck. But yeah, it drives you crazy because all I could do was sit in a chair. That's the most I could do all day was sit in a chair and watch TV. Drove me mad.
Yeah.
Never want to go back to anything like that again.
Yeah.
Too
Fair
active.
Yeah.
You know.
Fair enough.
So you started, and then did you start straight after that, or
The boys got into it.
Yeah.
And then you got Corbin the Nutter that's just obsessed with jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
So they started, and then Melissa must have sat for about a year watching us train and coming to because she was coming to training with the boys.
Yeah.
And then she went, nah.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
So what is your first? So what was your first trigger? Like going, actually, I want to try this. Now.
Okay, so I sat for a year watching the boys train, and then leaving. They sort of spent a quarter of an hour mucking around on the mats between kids and adults class. And I think it was when they had a grading with Drew. And I was like, you're doing that all wrong. This is so simple. This is such a basic technique. Why are you not doing this correctly? And then I was like, okay, I could probably try this myself. But also in that in-between period between adults and children's class, I would see other ladies arriving on the mat. So that was quite inspirational as well. And
So who were they? Do you remember who they were?
it was Inga.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely, and it was Nikki as well. So at that stage, I think Nikki may have just had her first stripe, and Inga was obviously up there with her belts. So yeah, and I'd formed a friendship with Inga as well because our boys were the same age. So it was just a discussion. She was constantly, hey, just give it a go, and then she decided to actually do a woman's intro course, so a 6-week course down in Drury with her and Christine, who's still on the mat at Zero Grav. And yeah, after that I was, okay, I'm going to try this, but going from an all-women's class into a ground control environment was quite daunting. So it was great. I think my first probably 2 months, my training partner was just Cory. I was really nervous about making mistakes, I guess, or things like that. But after that, that 2-month kind of period, I went to rolling, and that's when I realised actually not everybody on that mat is after you. This is actually a really good experience. I've actually really enjoyed the rolling. So I think what I feel is you need to get into rolling as early as possible so you take that barrier or that roadblock out of your mind.
Yeah.
I think that's what we do at our school. So I say to the guys, if it's their first class and they haven't done jiu-jitsu before, just watch the first night, so you can just see what it's all about. But then you can jump in after that. And then I'll typically try and see if I can pair them with some of the more senior guys who aren't gonna go crazy. So which is quite different to how when I started. So ours was you get your, I think it's like you get your first stripe and then you can.
Then you
Yeah.
can,
Is that the same with you?
I think I had to wait like 3 months before I could even go to the big boys class,
That's
I call
right.
it.
Yeah.
And then rolling afterwards. So it took me a while to get into rolling, which is great advice. If you can do it sooner, the better.
Yeah. So that's what you advocate as well. So
so at Forge, we basically, in an essentials class, if we've got new students, we'll do a pass and sweep scenario. And we do encourage them as quickly as possible to come to a rolling class as well.
Yep. The way we structured is, so we got a fundamentals class and our general class. And our fundamentals class, we don't really roll at all. At most, we'll do like a pass and sweep. But they can still come to the general class if they want to, get that training and then do that rolling afterwards. So yeah, so I generally try and keep the fundamentals quite light on that sort of stuff. But I still think those positional type drills, like those pass and sweeps, are really good exercises to do anyway, and that gives you a good feel of rolling. So yeah,
Hooks them in. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I was going to ask Melissa. No, you can have the mic. From a woman's perspective, how has the jiu-jitsu landscape in New Zealand changed in the last 10 years? I'd say since you got into it.
What I'm seeing currently is we've got a lot more black belts, black belt women, which is fantastic. Unfortunately, I think COVID has had a big effect on women's jiu-jitsu. So prior to COVID, we were coming together more. We had women's camps, which were fantastic. But now it's sort of pitted off a little bit. So we're really relying on interclub, I guess, or visiting other clubs. Because, typically on a mat in our club, we have a third of our class is women.
Really?
Are women, yeah.
That's great.
So we've got quite a high percentage, I guess, compared to other clubs. But once you're rolling with the same woman over and over, week on week, you suddenly become aware of their techniques and what they're going for. So when we do interclub or go and visit other clubs, it's fantastic. It just means that you're trying other techniques and you're actually ranking yourself as well. So I always think with Inga, if she can't submit me, that's great. Given how strong she is, and she always goes for your back. So
Yep. So, so you started your training at Ground Control. Then, so you're there for a number of years, and then what was the decision to be let's start our own club?
Yeah. So,
do you like how the CFO is going to answer this?
Yes, the CFO will answer this question. So, for Cory and I, what we saw across the board, particularly where we are living, where we grew up, was money is a massive barrier to people actually stepping on the mat. So the whole idea of Forge was to be a not-for-profit. We don't pay any of our coaches. Fees directly go to the costs of running the club. So basically, or helping. We just wanted to allow people to step on the mat and try it. So last year we did do women for free for 3 months just to get those numbers up as well.
Amazing.
And that was really successful. With our juniors, we do have a catchment that's a lower socioeconomic group, so we just work with those parents. Can we help you guys out with a gi? Can we reduce the fees? We're actually more interested in building talent and getting people on the mat than making any money out of this.
We got jobs. We've got jobs. Yep. We've got jobs. It's so this is what we love to do. So
that's amazing. I think 99% of other gyms out there would be the other side. It has to be for profit, and so
I mean, it's I guess for some of those other gyms, they that's their job.
Yeah, that's how they feed their families.
So we've all got careers. We would be classed as hobbyist jiu-jitsu people.
Yeah.
So it's
but there's other gyms that if you want to upgrade to a different color belt, you got to buy that belt. So there's a bit of that. There's a bit of that on
There's a lot more of that coming in. I don't understand it myself.
Yeah, no, I think
it's just that. It's just that. It's just dollars.
I think Andrew hit on the head the other day where who got their black belt.
Wasn't me.
No. Was it there? I forget now. I think there was a grading or something. No, it was when someone got their black. Sorry, it was when Warren got his black belt. Yes, that's it. Yeah, and which will come back. And and I knew someone was getting their black belt, but I also knew that you guys were also going through a grading at Zero Gravity too. Yeah. And what Andrew was basically saying is he's this whole watering down of, because I mean, getting your belts in jiu-jitsu, anyone would know, it's very hard to get your belts in jiu-jitsu and to move up. So as soon as you have these like little things where people are starting to get their belts a little bit sooner, or they haven't put that time in, or all that sort of stuff, it starts creeping into the sport. And then like all of a sudden you just see people with just blue belts and purple belts and black belts, and they just
15-year-olds with a blue belt and things like that.
I'd still think there needs to be if you're going to be getting a belt, it needs to be because you've put that time in. Yes, if you haven't put that time in, you've been a blue belt for look at Boss. Boss was a blue belt for almost like 10 years.
He was.
And when he started with us, he had already been a blue belt for very, very experienced, but still, I was still like, if he was gonna come under our school and do what he needs to do, then he needs to put that time in, and he needs to not only learn the syllabus but also be part of that whole Machado culture and whatever else. And to his credit, he knuckled down and he did it, and then he got promoted. So you can't just and there's a lot of times where guys, this guy's been a belt for X amount of time, and it's like, it's not my call. It's not, if you're going to be coming under me or whatever, then it's going to be 2 years minimum before you can start moving on.
I'm terrible. I am the least give a toss about belts. I love just coming and doing jiu-jitsu. I love the people, training with the people. It's that connection with them. That's all I do it for. I'm too old to care anymore about any of that sort of stuff. And it's never been a thing that's really worried me. And I'm lucky because that's quite a good thing in our family, even with Corbin. Our oldest boy, he's turning 20, started when he was 7, still doesn't want his purple belt because he feels he even though he competes against the Browns and everything like that, in his mind, he needs to, there's things he wants to finish off before he goes into his purple belts and that. But he competes against all the brown belts anyway, so he doesn't really care. Yeah. And I'm the same. I don't care. I love to go along to rolling. I love to work with guys to compete. My actual grade myself is pretty irrelevant to me. I just love doing what we do. Yeah. It's that connection with people. It's awesome.
I think like you said, the connection to people is important. I also still think grades are important. But I also think that what like Andrew was saying, if you're going to be getting a brown belt or especially like a black belt and stuff, it needs to be because there's a consensus around there that you deserve that rank. Yeah. So I think making sure that person's ready and able to be on that. And sometimes what happens is, and we were saying it the other day with, when you do get up to that next level, you actually are at that next level. But in your mind, it's like a very psychological thing. It's only when you get that color and you got that belt strapped around, it's like, oh, okay, I can. And then all of a sudden your jiu-jitsu goes straight. And we've seen that with Adam and Jason, all those guys getting their blue belts. All of a sudden now their jiu-jitsu is just flowing away. Nothing's happened like from that 1 week to the other than just that validation.
That first 6 months of getting a blue belt, you see, it takes about 6 months till all of a sudden you see them do that skyrocket and just start taking it on and getting into it, because they definitely don't feel like it when you get your first coloured belt. Yeah, and everyone smashes you for about 6 months.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
6 months, it's been about 4 years for me. I'm still getting smashed.
So when you were at ground control, so you would have obviously arrived, and then Cory and Melissa were there.
Yeah, they were there, and I think Cory would take some classes when some of the other main coaches weren't around. And what I remember about Cory is he's kind of like the cool teacher, because you always taught us things that no one else was teaching, or they didn't want to teach us. And I'm like, why are they not teaching this? Yeah. Like these little shortcuts, but they made big differences. Yeah. And so I was always like, hey, got to keep an eye on this guy. Yeah. So that was good. So I appreciated those times.
The basics are always there, but there's always little tweaks in those basics that people don't.
You had like cheat codes.
Think about, that you just got to. It just helps, and it keeps your jiu-jitsu interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you as well, Melissa, were teaching as well. So you're taking the class.
I I was, just to set the record straight, I was doing the grading technical techniques, and then Cory would go, let's spice it up at the end with something nasty. We still have to keep him on track in essentials classes.
It's true, because there'd be a certain way to do it, and then he'd come along and go, don't do it that way. You do it like this, and this really gets him. You're like, whoa, this is good. So that's how I learned my jiu-jitsu. Melissa, women looking at the sport, because you've done it, you've sat on the sideline, and then you were like, okay, I'm all in. Any tips, advice to get ladies into jiu-jitsu?
Step on the mat, turn up to class. Find a person in the class or a couple of people that you can make a connection with. That's what we've found is really important. And that may not be a female to female training partner connection. You might find that the person you like training with the most is, I'm just thinking about Janelle and Kamal. You know, they started basically together, and they've come right up to their blue belts together. They just train amazingly. So for me, I like to get in there, get as many drills in as I can. Yeah, so I'm like, come on, let's go. I want to do 30 of these before we finish.
You like that? You like that structure? Yeah.
Compared to this guy, right? He's like, all right, we've done 4 of those. Now let's grind in on this and do this, you know. So, yeah.
Here's a technique that I teach you at school.
Yeah. We're quite polar opposites in training, but I find when we're on the mat together, teaching and coaching, it actually plays out really well together.
Yeah.
So where I'll go, listen, technically if we're grading, you should be looking for this, but in a fight situation, and that's where usually when Cory comes in. So, but yeah, turn up. If you can find that connection, that's fantastic. Just don't be afraid. Try these things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how long has Forge been going now? 3 years.
3 years.
I thought it was longer than that.
No.
Jeez.
Yeah.
3 years, January.
Yeah.
January the 8th.
Okay. It seems like, wasn't it before COVID, you guys?
Well, just before.
Just before. Yeah, it was just before. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You guys started, we started in the January.
Yes. And then we were, in 2020. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, okay. So, I mean, in that space of time now, so you guys have come like a long way. Like it's yeah, that's like amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, our comp team, I think the biggest thing that I've taken away from it is we have people who come in for fitness. We have people who come in to, I guess, there's a self-defense aspect to it. So they've had something happen. They want to be more confident within themselves. And then we've got a really great group of competitors who across the Will Machado whānau here help each other out. So not just within Forge, within ground control, within Mellows, within Zero Grav. And whenever we're at comp, we all sit together. It's a great atmosphere. We're learning off each other. And that was the whole reason we had Thursday night open mat to anyone, that you could come in, that you have that opportunity, and that you're supported. That's a big thing for us, isn't it? And as well as that, it's the people on the mat that we have that coach now, and you see them come out of their shell and they're amazing. They're really incredible. You know, and luckily we've got Warren as well. He's done a massive amount for our club. Yeah.
So let's talk about Warren a little bit. Actually, we need to have Warren on here at some.
I'm sure we're going to get everybody through. Yeah. I mean, only if they've got stories like Cory where they break their backs. If they don't have that story, I'm sure he does.
He's got lots of stories. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think when I met Warren, he must have been a blue belt, and he just had gone as just got his purple belt, I think. So, but yeah, really, really good guy, and also very, very versatile in his martial arts. So yeah.
You know, even he started off some of the kickboxing at Forge, but he loves jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And he was going, man, I just want to do jiu-jitsu. So
yeah,
it's kind of moved away, and we're just mainly jiu-jitsu, but we're trying to work back into the
Yeah,
kickboxing side too.
The stuff that our MMA stuff is really it's kind of morphed into that. Like when I started, it was always going to be jiu-jitsu because that's all I know. I wasn't going to be like pretend to try and do striking and do that sort of stuff. But we kind of, I think with Boss and what all the stuff that he does, it's kind of that's more natural to him. Yeah. So that's how the MMA and the kickboxing has like been born out of what we've done. So it's been very interesting since we've like started. Like my whole approach has just been, and I think this frustrates Leah a little bit when it comes to the podcast. I'm just like, just let it be, because it'll morph into something. It'll become something. Yeah. Whereas Leah's very much like, no, let's put a bit more structure and let's get a bit of a game plan together. And it's good to have that.
I'm like, what's the end goal? And he's like, just let it be. We'll just do he's like, build it, and it will come. I'm like, what's that movie? Something of the fields, build it and it will come. Yeah, and I was just like,
well, it's just like,
what are we doing here?
I remember like our early conversation was, it's like, well, what is this podcast going to be? And to me, all I really wanted is just to have the guys around so we can so it's not just jiu-jitsu, but we can actually come together and have more of a discussion, and then the other guys on the mat can learn about who they are. That'll hopefully make it a bit easier for our connections around at the club. But it's, at the same time, sometimes I'm too flexible and too laid back, and so that's why it's good to have someone else come along and be like, yeah,
sounds very similar over here.
It's very similar to how you guys are. So it's like, so this year we've made a more of a concerted effort to be like, okay, here's the calendar, here's all the events, this is all the stuff we want to do. These are the kind of things that we can kind of start talking about. What kind of structure we're going to have during these which we're not having now. But I think we're trying to put more, and I think now that we've been going for the last couple of years or go 3 years, it's like we kind of starting to form our identity a little bit, because even at our club, like I was never really into competitions, never ever wanted to force anyone to do competitions. We're never going to be a competition club, but just the guys are wanting to do that stuff, and so then we try and put that support around them to be able to allow them to go do that.
We push a lot of you don't have to compete. It's irrelevant, but we'd love you to be part of the team. That team involves getting in, being there for rolling to help get these guys ready for comps. It's still a team, individual sport, but it's so based around a team.
Yes.
You need that team support to be able to do a lot of what we do.
And you see their intensity go up, and you got to match it to help that team, and then you're getting better. Because I'm seeing that with with Adam and Ben and all that. Like now when I roll with them, I know I'm like, this is deep water. Like I got to put my A game or I'm screwed, because now they're doing back-to-back comps and they're just keeping that intensity up, which is great, because I feel like when I step into that club, it's game time. Like
that's right.
Rather than like, I'm just gonna chill out, do some stretches over here. And oh, that's rolling. I can go home now.
And I think but I also think that people like you and who and others like even like me who we don't compete as much.
Yeah, I don't.
But it's just as important because I mean Christoph, he's competed in the past and that hasn't competed lately, but he's at those events, and just having the team and the people at those events supporting the guys actually on the mat goes a massive long way.
Push the B there to help train, get them ready for a comp. And then they feel like they're really involved in the club.
That's a good team environment.
Yeah, and even on Thursday, like this past Thursday, like we were doing positional drills for the guys because they're going to be going into that Summer Slam. So guys like you and Hamish and all that, they you guys are helping them get ready with some of those. So it's it is very much like a team sport. Even though you've got those individual guys going out there, but to get them to that level requires the family to come along.
Like on a Thursday open mat roll, we could have 5 different clubs, people from 5 different clubs in there rolling. And what I love is you'll finish rolling and everything like that. And at the end of rolling, they'll all still be there. They might even be competitors once they hit the comp scene. But they will be on the mat talking to each other with how you do this and drilling and mucking things around and showing each other how things are done, even though they'll probably be competing against each other. I love that. I think that's amazing. And we're not even the same club. We're not the same organisation, but it's built this whole group of people that come in on a Thursday, work together and help each other get better. The better they get, the better you get. It's a win-win.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So next weekend we're going to be doing a self-defense or free, because I was saying to Cory and Melissa that we've got hardly any women at our
hardly any women.
So, which is bad, and so we need to try and
I think it's zero. Hardly any women
well,
equals zero.
And we've got there's a couple.
When was the last time there was a woman on the mat at our gym?
Just before Christmas.
He's
but
thinking.
it was just but they
was that you?
Was it me, John?
No, it wasn't you. There was two ladies who came. They were visiting.
That's true. I remember that.
And they came.
Did you know who they were? I always wanted to know this story.
I think one trains out at Auckland MMA.
Right.
And another, she had a friend here in Beachlands Maraetai who wanted to do they were just trying different things.
Right.
And so they came and visited and she did some jiu-jitsu with her.
I felt like we failed because we've never seen them again. I was like, oh, easy come, easy go.
Yeah. So, but I think we want to make more of a concerted effort this year to try and get women into the club and do things. So to kick this off, Melissa's going to be coming down next weekend to do a free self-defense, and this is for the community. So we're saying to the community, it's free, come down, have a go, taking your guys' lead and saying free classes for the next 6 months. Come to any class you want to come to.
Wow.
It's free.
Yep.
So no barriers, no excuses, no money or whatever. Just come down and just give it a go.
6 months free at Forge at Mellows is what you're saying.
Mellow, yeah.
Nice.
It works. It really works doing it that way because they were people you were probably never going to pick up anyway. So to give them that for like 3-6 months or something like that, what you'll find is you'll suck their partners in because they can't start coming in and then they start going back. And females don't like coming in by themselves. Yeah. So they'll generally bring someone with them, and it really helps. Like I said, they were people that were probably never going to come on the mat anyway. So to give them free membership for a certain amount of time isn't going to matter. Yeah. But if you can suck them in, get them into it, you're just growing your club. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So what happens in the first class? What are you going to be teaching?
So on Saturday, we will go through some basic self-defense. There'll be a little bit of jiu-jitsu in there as well, just to give a flavour for what's happening at Mellows. So I've got Janelle joining me as my training partner, and I understand that Cory and John will be down supporting as well. So we're just going to talk about maybe some situations that you may find yourself in, and how we can get out of that using what we've learnt on the mat, basically. Look, all that I can say about women doing jiu-jitsu is you're going to make lifelong friends. You're going to be more confident in yourself, and your body awareness will increase. It's been the best thing that I've done. I've never done martial arts before jiu-jitsu. This guy's done taekwondo and aikido and a whole lot of other stuff, which is incredible. Jiu-jitsu was easy to learn. There were things that I've learnt on the mat that I've put into practice when I found myself in bad situations. Come along, give it a go. You're not committing to anything. If you like it, pop on down to a normal class.
Yeah, I love it.
Yep.
So and it's gonna be just no gi, right? Just
no gi.
No gi. Yeah. Yep. Okay.
So those bad situations that you're talking about, so is this when like Cory's not doing stuff around the house? And
very bad situations in our house. No, not Cory. In my previous role at Stardome, basically we ran events. And there was alcohol given at those events, so sometimes I'd get a little bit out of hand. Yeah, and you'd find yourself in a confrontational situation. Before jiu-jitsu, it was basically, okay, I'm getting out of there. I need somebody to come in. There's a calmness that comes over you when you are confident within yourself to actually be able to stand your ground, and that sends out a message itself to someone that's confronting you.
She's not going to back down.
Yeah, that you're not going to back down, that, hey, listen, I don't know what's going on here, why you're feeling aggressive, why you're being confrontational, but it's not appropriate here. Take it away, get it out of here. Just that confidence. In my current role, there are parents that are aggressive, there are teachers that are having to deal with that scenario. So it's about teaching strategies of how do I actually cope in this situation? What should I do?
Yeah.
So it's always about you, right? Keeping yourself safe, making sure that everyone around you is safe.
Yeah, and I think when it comes like next weekend with these, like, a lot of them are going to be absolutely green as green, right? They're not going to know anything. And I mean, most people don't. Like, if you don't do any martial arts, if you get in a confrontation, you kind of just winging it. And so I think that calmness and that you can kind of think through that situations because, okay, you've been attacked. You have that training background. So you go, okay, this is still not a great. I always say to my kids, right, the last thing you want to do is, even though you know jiu-jitsu and you know some techniques, the last thing you want to do is get in a fight because it's so unpredictable. Like
100%.
you can fall, you can hit your head, you can get kicked, either both parties aren't going to come out, great afterwards. So at all costs, avoid a situation. If you need to run, like get out of it. But just that's my primary thing. But at least if you need to do something, at least you've got some sort of training in the background to be able to help you.
And look, I really think there are barriers to everything. I'm not fit enough. I don't have enough time. It's too far away. Take those barriers away. Just come along. Just come along.
Yeah.
That was the biggest barrier for me with having two young children at that stage when I started was I need to be a mum, I need to be home, they need to have dinner, they need to be in bed by the time the class is finished. So it was a mind shift for me, and I'm a very organised, precise person.
I don't know anyone like that.
No, I wouldn't be on her level. Trust me.
So there were a few changes that we had to make, but overall it was the best decision for our family that we made, and it's great. All of us do it. So and we've managed to get our older daughter onto the mat at times as well. So it's been a great experience, and grandkids now.
You got grandkids on the
We've got
mat.
grandkids now.
This legacy is expanding. This is a dangerous jiu-jitsu family coming into.
The Glew's going to take over.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It's a great sport just to give you that confidence.
It is.
Get in. It's that connection. Find that connection with them. Like we always say, maybe 1 in 10 stays. It's a hard sport.
It's a mess, yeah. Absolutely.
It's a hard sport to keep them, but you got to try and find a way to make those classes fun as well. And it is pulling that enjoyment into it. It's not all just slog, squish. I don't know. You got to find some way to make your class exciting and fun, so that when they come in, and that's probably how Melissa and I work with teaching. Melissa is quite structured with this. Is I'll be structured through the first part of it, but I always try to add those other little bits in because it's that thing that sparks them to go, oh, that was cool. And it could be one extra little tweak on a technique.
Those little things are the money.
They just go, that was cool, and keeps them interested in coming back.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we got Melissa on the couch. I want to talk about the women and men rolling. Because this topic can go in so many different directions. There's women that don't like rolling with men. There's men that don't like rolling with women. Some of us, I think we all know why. Some people are like, oh, it's just uncomfortable. It's just not what we do. I guess my question to you is, and I think I already know the answer because you're going to say step on the mat. But how do you overcome these boundaries or these barriers, sorry, as a woman to roll with men?
I think the gi is a big one. So
What do you mean? What do you
Being
mean
in
by that?
gi.
Okay, being in a gi. Okay.
being in gi, I find a lot of the women on our mat prefer gi to no gi. I think, how am I going to put this appropriately? No gi can be a bit more exposing, I guess. So I think gi knocks down some of the barriers. For us, we find it's more male hesitant to roll with female.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
The ladies on our mat are all line up. They're just like, let's
do
go.
this. Yeah.
Yeah, I think for guys, particularly our new white belts, are a bit worried about hurting us. So, so play on it. They get a little bit of a shock when they get choked out or you get an arm bar on them. I personally prefer gi because I like chokes. I like using the lapel. So for me, I'm all about that. Whereas I know Janella and Mata, for example, love no gi and they will roll with anyone. So basically, if you've got a problem with it, on our mat it's too bad. That's just the way that we deal with it. As a woman, you have, or any training partner really, you have the right to accept a role or not to accept it. Right? If you've been hurt by somebody, Cory may have been hurt by Warren once or twice.
Right.
He can turn
say
that
no.
role down.
Yeah.
Exactly the same for anyone on the mat. I mean, we've got smaller males on our mat who turn down roles. So.
Yeah, that's one thing that we also forget. Like, guys aren't always the biggest.
Yeah.
You know, so.
No, because my thinking is always like, a woman is here to train for either being in a competition or everything that we've talked about today. Self-defense, if you're in a bad situation, it may be there's a male person that's putting you in that bad situation. So it's good to roll because you need to feel, understand, all those movements that your partner's doing. On the other side with men, I'm always like, I don't know, maybe I've been in sports all my life. There's nothing sexual going on here. I am like,
100%.
I want to roll.
Yeah.
I want to roll. And if you're a different person, I want to roll with a different type of person, different body limbs, different. Sometimes women are more flexible. I was like, I want to be in this situation. And it's just funny seeing in a gym, people are like, ooh, U-turn, like, who else is available? Oh, yeah, where there'll be these girls, they're going, I'm ready to go. And they're like, what's over here? So I just don't know how you overcome these barriers with men and women in jiu-jitsu. I don't know if, like you said, you just got to show up, be on the mat, everyone starts being part of the team.
Yeah,
and all of that is.
I think in our club, if we see that playing out, we're very upfront in the whole coming in process, the whole intro process. Our club is open to males and females. If you're stepping onto the mat, you're accepting that. And you may be partnered up with a female. So one of the strategies for dealing with this in a class is in our essentials or fundamentals class. Everyone picks their partners at the start, but then we go, right, choose a new partner.
Yeah.
Right? And that starts to mix things up.
Yeah.
And they certainly realise that the women on our mat are not timid in any way. But equally so, equally so, we are there to protect them at the beginning and make it a great experience for them. But what I've found personally is the worst culprits of this kind of behaviour are the teenage boys. They suddenly become body aware and then they can't roll with girls and, they have to look fantastic in their gis and all of those things. So it's really those teenage, lots of tape.
Lots of tape
for the teenage boys.
Oh, right. I don't do tape yet. Maybe I should. Maybe I'll bring my youth back.
Yeah.
But good answer, mixing everyone around.
I'm big on when females come in and they start coming in and then they might get into some classes, they want to get into rolling, as I will explain to them that, like we all know, be aware of the spazzy white belt. I'm sorry, that's jiu-jitsu. Be aware of the big, muscly, spazzy white belt. They tend to not want to lose to a woman. So that's exactly where you go. No, I'm all right. I don't want to roll.
Yeah.
You have a job tomorrow. I've got to go to work.
Yeah.
You have to also factor that in. We all work. This is 99.9% of jiu-jitsu in New Zealand is not professional. We've got a job. Look after yourself. You have that right to say no. And when you're rolling as a woman, looking out there, you can see those that work with you, those that are working against you, and a lot of it is ego. You know, so you just got to keep.
That's what I don't have.
Yeah.
I need to get some ego back.
Yeah, you need some ego.
Yeah.
I mean, do you find like with women, the more they train, the more confidence they get, that's where those barriers like really go down?
100%. So you'll find blue belt. We're talking grades again. Blue belt gives you that next step confidence. I know Corey's not a grade person. I'm a grade person, probably like you, Leo. You know, and you find that they work really, really hard. They're very, very technical. That grade is actually like a tick box. Yes, you've accomplished this. Yes, we believe in you. Yes, we're taking you that step further. I know we've got one competitor on our mat, and he sat in his white belt for so long, and he was very obviously, very obviously much higher than that, but technique-wise, syllabus-wise, it was just going over that again. Whereas a woman, it's the structure of the class, it's getting that grade. Okay, that's recognition. That I've accomplished something. They do get massively harder. Janelle, from when she started to where we are now, incredible. When we roll, you just finish going, how did you even do that? Because she likes to do all the bendy stuff that Corbin teaches her. And I don't go to Corbin's class because it's not cool to have mum on the mat when you're coaching. So she's got an upper hand on me in that area.
So do you like from a person first starting or from a woman first starting jiu-jitsu, what do you think is that time period? Like, do you think like within a month or 3 months that their guard comes down? Like how would you gauge that?
It depends on the club and the people that are on the mat. 100%. I found Inga's intro class was really amazing. I'd obviously made friendships with people at ground control as well before I'd started any classes there. So I felt like I already had that connection. What I'm seeing on our mat with the new ladies is when we actually go to drill, either Corey or I will partner up with them generally, and then it's just about encouragement. So I would say probably we start after the first month, we'll start to get, I'm quite keen on getting into the rolling class. Is it okay for me to come to Saturday? Absolutely, come to Saturday, because if you don't roll, we can drill something, we can try something together.
Our rolling isn't strictly rolling. If you're coming in and our rolling isn't strictly rolling. If you come into rolling, there should be some learning involved in it too. So if there is something you specifically want to learn and there's a coach on that mat, if you can pull them aside and say, hey, how do we do this? And we'll work with them. And then we get back and rolling should be fun too. It shouldn't be a slog every time you go. There are times when it's like that because people are getting ready for comp. I was watching on Saturday and Thursday night with those guys that were, we're 2 weeks out from a comp. Well, those guys aren't there to teach you nothing. They are there to be prepared for their comp. So those roles and the guys rolling with them know that that's what's going to happen in that role. But then there were the other guys that were off to the side drilling and working on stuff and going, how does this work? And then they jump in and roll so that they've got it in their mind while they're rolling what they've just been doing. And they try it with that resistance, with that person that says, no, I don't want to go to sleep. That's our rolling. Our rolling is not strictly you go in and you are in every single round. You can do, and you can go because I've got a comp. I'm going to roll this, but you'll also go. I've got a comp, and you let the person know. Because they're looking for as much competition as they can within that role. But you let that person know, and they can decide whether they want to roll or not. But then there's other times where that person that is super, super serious, that turns around and goes, oh no, I'm just drilling out with him to help him with this. There's all times in that year. It's a bit different now because there seems to be comps just about every weekend. When we started, there was 2 a year, if you were lucky. So, so they work between competition and helping, and we're big on help. You don't have to be there just to roll every single round. You can learn. You can come in with a partner and just drill, but be part of it. That's the big thing. Be involved and be part of the club.
Yep, 100%. Yep. Oh, cool. So I'll probably get you guys out on this one. So you are currently working through an injury at the moment. So apparently, I know back operation maybe. So
to do with the old injury, or is this a new one?
Could be.
Okay.
I'm still teaching. Nope. I'm still teaching. It makes me feel better if I'm training.
Yeah.
If I'm not training, it's bad.
It seizes up.
Yeah, so it seizes up. So I'm still teaching. My rolling's pretty limited at the moment. Which is rolling is the reason why I do it. So it is frustrating, but and you get like that. Your rolling becomes.
I always say to people, like, you actually sometimes injuries are they a good thing because it forces you to actually you learn other techniques and explore other areas of jiu-jitsu that you wouldn't necessarily have done. So so I guess it's all how you go about it. So, but you're one of those people who will just you just work through things for sure. So
it'll have to be something major to stop. This is I'm stuck with this sport. So it doesn't matter. I'm stuck with the family as well that loves the sport. So
So not sure if stuck is the right word there, Cory. I think you're saying you love being with this family. Here's probably the question everyone's wanting to know here. If you have a small debate about who's going to do the dishes and you decide to settle it in a jiu-jitsu role, who's winning this competition between the two of you?
Not worth it.
It's not worth it.
No.
We don't have that.
Smart man.
It's more with the boys, isn't it? Yeah, so you can be randomly sitting at your desk and a back choke comes on. That's a very interesting experience.
It's like a hug in your family, I'm going to say.
It's like a little
it's
cuddle.
endearing.
Yeah, they're just showing you some affection. Like, come here, Mum.
No.
I was teaching rear naked choke to the kids first class back for the year. So it's like,
These are the kids of the club, not your kids in this house, right?
Yeah, the kids of the club.
Right.
And anyway, there were some newer parents there, anyway, with their eyes like wide open like this, going,
horrified.
What is it?
What's going on here?
I love the reaction when they see it. And anyway, and then while you're doing it, you're saying to the kids, because a lot of the kids, they're like suckers, man. They just want to feel that choke, and then they don't tap. And they're like going red in the face, and they're going, I'm like, you need a tap like right now. So it's like over and over again. You got to say to them, before the whole class, like, okay, we're gonna do chokes, and you need to tap straight away. Like, don't wait till you can't breathe and whatever. You need a tap as soon as you start to feel any pressure. Tap. I just want to see that you can get into the position. True as nuts, man. Like, they'll just they swig it on and they go, oh.
We're like, nobody sleeps on our mat.
Yeah.
Nobody sleeps on our mat. What do you mean? What do you mean? You'll pass out. What happens when you pass out? It's bad.
Yeah.
It's bad. You might wet your pants in front of everybody. So
That's a
they're
good
all
one.
like,
I've seen
I'm ready
Cory
to
do it.
tap. I'm ready to tap.
That's actually clever to say that, because then I think most kids would go, okay, I won't.
Yeah,
I
should
anything
try that, actually.
embarrassing like that.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
no, I'm going to tap.
I'll take
I'm
that as a
gonna
tip.
tap.
Maybe I should be saying that.
We
Yeah,
probably should say it in the adult class too. Tap.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, the only people that have fallen asleep. Oh no, we did have one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did you?
Over and
but
over
it's
again.
more adults. Yeah,
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
the thing, man. They just they are tough, but they just take it to that one.
but we
rhythm.
have 4 coaches usually at our juniors class. So we have parents that have children in the class with us. So rather than sitting on the sideline, come in.
Yeah. That's kind of naturally morphed into, because when we started kids class, I was just doing it, and because again, like I didn't want to. I say to the guys all the time, right? Like you are paying me, and so it's my job to be teaching you. So I don't want there to be any pressure that you should be coming onto the mat to do stuff. So if you just want to be that student who sits in there and takes the classes, that's fine. That's what you're there for. That's what you're paying for, and so forth. But I think naturally, what's happened over the last couple of years is probably for the first year, did it completely by myself, and then as the kids have gotten a little bit older and more the adults have joined, now they've come onto the mat. So luckily now, if I'm taking kids classes, there's normally like a Hamish or a Christoph that are there. So there'll be 3 of us. But there was a time where it was just me.
And you're having to demo.
Yeah, so I'm having to. So I would grab one of the adults, just to show them, or I'd show them on like one of the kids. But I think the hardest thing was trying to get the kids to do the techniques, and you really had to break things down. Like you couldn't do like top control drill as an example, like the full top control drill that you do with adults.
Too much, yeah.
Yeah. So you'd have to do a quarter of it. So you'd have to go, okay, this is how you lie on the person's chest, and not even go into great detail of that. And then this is how you get onto mount. That's it. And then it's you're just practicing that. And then it's the trying to, while they're doing it, trying to get to all the kids and making sure that these guys here who are like mucking about, it was quite an experience, like doing the whole thing. So it's having, a couple of other people on the mat makes a massive difference. Yeah, for sure.
And as your kids class develops and you have a lot more grades within, because there's a lot of grades in kids.
Yeah.
There's a lot of grades. Having those extra people on the mat means that during a class, sometimes some classes will sit there and we'll all be together. Then other classes will come in and like I said, we might have 4 coaches on the mat, but they'll take 1 and 2 stripe. They'll take 2 and 3 stripe, 3 and 4 stripe. Then you'll be going up into coloured belts, and we can split it up. Or else those higher grades, and you see it all the time, is, okay, now we're going to be doing basic guard pass, and the higher grades will go, how many times have we done this, So when we can split it up and give them that extra bit, which is ahead of a person that's just been there for 2 weeks, that keeps them interested in coming back.
Yeah.
Because you got to remember, only 1 in 10 of those kids is really who actually wants to be there. The parents have paid the fees. They're not, and not every day that child wants to be on the mat.
Right.
But their parents have paid the fees, and the parents are at home going, okay, we've got jiu-jitsu now. Let's go. And they have to push them to get into the car. Not all of them want to be
willing to get there.
So you have to factor that into, 100%. And a bad day at school. So, and that governs your class a lot. Is how those kids are interacting when you come in.
Yeah, there's been times where I've tried to, like, I've started to do a class and I've just gone, this is just not working. And I've just gone, right, okay, you guys are rolling like now. So, and sometimes
Bull
that's
rush.
all they want. Yeah?
Bull rush, you like
pretty much.
Let's throw some games in, and then let's do some rolling. But they go home from that going, oh, that was cool.
Yeah.
But it was mainly because, holy heck, what the heck did you guys eat or do today? Because they're running around with their heads spinning. Yeah, well, no
or
motivation.
Rugby or
that's true.
It's mountain biking or whatever else. So but good. I think we'll close it off. But I just want to say to you guys, it's been amazing to see your journey. It's amazing that Warren's now got his black belt. I think that's made a huge,
massive difference.
to the club. I'm really excited to see, what's going to happen with that. And it's been good having you guys in our corner and for me, very grateful for everything you do. There's often times I've rung and said, please come do the kids' classes. And it's been, other choices. You guys have dropped everything and come. So
we love coming
thank
over
you so
to
much.
Mellows, so anytime.
Yep. Love you guys. We'll see you next weekend.
No conspiracy talk in this podcast?
No.
Oh, yeah.
Is there something you guys need to get off your chest? Is there Putin was interviewed this week.
I couldn't. I could tell you there's two of my friends
Here we
who've
go.
seen something, but
Oh,
I'll
no.
leave it.
Oh, is that the
I'll
hook?
leave it.
Is that next week's episode?
Yeah, that'll
Look, don't
be-
start Cory off, please.
No.
Don't
Oh,
start
really?
Cory
We're
off.
gonna
We need
next
to do
ep-
just an episode of the two of you then.
Yeah.
we'll do the Cory.
what do you
we'll actually
think,
bring
Cory?
Cory and Ollie here.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I thought of doing the next one in a hot tub. Out there, so you can get him in a speedo.
It's like, I don't
Yeah,
think so.
I just want to see him in a speedo. That's all.
That's exactly what it is. Well, the guy that entered that jiu-jitsu tournament, did you see?
Did you
Have you
guys
guys
see
seen
that?
these
Yes.
photos?
This guy went in with a speedo, managed to mount the guy, a high mount.
Very high mount.
I
Very
bet,
high
and we were
mount.
saying on our chat, we were going, I bet you the guy who was going against that dude, who was going, all I need to do is not have this guy mount me. That's all I need. I'll win if he
Stay
doesn't
off the
mount me. And
mount.
the guy mounted him, and he's, yeah.
If we were trying to get women into jiu-jitsu and they see that photo of this guy in a speedo at the tournament, we've
Please
lost
do
all
not
that
look.
momentum we
Please
just
do not
had.
search us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that'll be
we'll put
done.
it up on the podcast. But, yeah.
Yeah, that'll be good, actually.
But here's my question: is that allowed? And apparently it is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's just like,
It's just very small shorts.
I think it tempted Hamish.
Well, yes, Hamish threw a picture of his speedo, so he was ready for
he
class.
was like, Tuesday, this is happening. Luckily, it was a public holiday, so we're like, sorry, no classes.
Sorry, we're closed.
Yeah. Yeah. Might have to update your T's and C's that speedos are not
no
allowed
speedos.
on the mat.
No budgie smugglers.
Yeah.
We'll do that when we get back, eh?
Yeah. Update the T's
Yeah,
and
update the
C's.
T's and C's.
Thanks
But,
for coming, guys.
So next weekend we'll see you, and we'll take some videos and stuff like that.
So
and,
what?
yeah.
6 months free,
6 months free. Yeah.
starting from
Starting now.
Starting
so we're
now.
So if we'll do the seminar.
Can't get better than that.
And 6 months, they can just come. So really, the people in the community have got no excuse.
women in the community
Women,
have no.
yeah.
Okay,
You
yeah.
can't identify.
So
as a
I
woman.
can't come in for free.
No.
All right.
But you can bring your partner.
You can bring your partner.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, good
actually,
point.
Actually, what I'm gonna do.
And your kids.
What I am doing is in the idea of equality. There's another guy that I know who's ex-SAS and whatever. He's got a place. He's got his own club down in Tapuki, so he's going to be coming up in March, but that'll be like a paid-for thing, very low, but he'll be going through his SAS type stuff and
Wow.
a little bit like
awesome.
grappling
That's
and everything.
cool.
Yeah,
I'm
so
in.
we'll be doing that for the guys,
Yeah.
but for the women it'll be free and then free for the whole year. Yeah.
For 6
That's the plan.
months. That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's an amazing offer. Take it. There you go.
We'll take it.
All
All right.
right.
Good to see you guys.
Thanks,
See you.
guys.
Cheers.